In Boston, 1777, during a shortage of cotree and sugar, a crowd of over 100 angry women marched to a wealthy merchant's warehouse, demanded the keys, and grabbed him by the neck when he refused. They opened the doors, loaded up carts with coffee, and left. In the 15th century, King James IV conducted an experiment by sending a mute woman and 2 infants to an empty island to learn what the natural human language would be. In the ancient Persian Empire, men used to debate ideas twice, once sober and once drunk, because the idea had to sound good in both states in order to be considered a good idea. A 23-year-old French con artist impersonated and assumed the identity of a 16-year-old missing Texas boy, living with the boy's family for months, despite retaining his French accent and having different colored eyes from the missing teen. After their only son died at the age of 15, Leland Stanford founded Stanford University and told his wife that the children of California shall be our children. In 1504, Christopher Columbus was stranded in Jamaica with natives who refused to give him food. But he knew the date and time of an upcoming lunar eclipse. So he told the natives that his gods were angry at their treatment of him and would provide a clear sign. Once the eclipse started, the natives raced to give him food and begged for mercy. This is the first known photograph of a human. Made in 1838 by Louis Daguerre, it took so long to expose that the people are all blurred out except one. In the bottom left, a man who happened to be getting his shoes shined unknowingly stood still long enough to be visible. A man named Alexis St. Martin was shot and survived, but was left with an open hole in his stomach wall. He was used in experiments for 12 years as doctors could view his digestion in real time through his wound. He lived for another 58 years. After the Great Fire of London, an economist by the name of Nicholas If Christ Had Not Died for Thee Thou Hadst Been Damned Barebone played a major role in pioneering fire insurance. His very religious father, Praise God Barebone, chose his somewhat unusual middle name. Russia trained and deployed about 40,000 anti-tank dogs in WW2. The dogs were loaded up with explosives and trained to run under tanks where they would be detonated. Many dogs got scared, returned to their own trenches, and killed their Russian trainers. Billionaire J. Paul Getty refused to pay $17 million ransom for his kidnapped grandson. When the teenager's severed ear arrived, he agreed to pay $3 million, but only paid $2.2 million, the maximum that would be tax deductible. He lent the other $800,000 to his son on the condition that he pay it back with 4% interest. While leaving Italy during a tour, there was a bomb scare on David Bowie's plane, forcing them to return to the airport. They later discovered the threat had been a ruse by the chief of police, who wanted Bowie's autograph. During the naval battle of Tsushima in 1905, the Japan's fleet kept firing on the surrendering Russian ships as the Japan's code books didn't contain the signal for surrender. Henry Moseley, the scientist that pioneered the concept of the atomic number, volunteered for combat duty in World War I and was killed by a Turkish sniper. As a result of his death, scientists were later prevented from enlisting in the military. Samuel Adams received a female slave as a wedding gift. He insisted that a slave cannot live in my house. If she comes, she must be free. He was able to free her after years of writing emancipation papers, and treated her as an equal family member throughout that time. The heaviest human being ever recorded weighed 1,400 pounds. At one point, he also lost approximately 924 pounds, the largest human weight loss ever documented. Louis Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother, was known as, and is still called, the King of Rabbits, because he mispronounced the Dutch phrase, I am your king, and instead said, I am your rabbit, when he took over the Netherlands in 1806. A man who lied about passing his second year of university, pretended to continue his study, crafting an elaborate lie until everyone he knew thought he was a medical doctor. No one found out for 18 years, until he killed his entire family to avoid being revealed. His name is Jean-Claude Rahman. In 1989, NHL player Clint Malarchuk had his throat slit during a game, and left the ice only because he knew his mother was watching the game on TV. He didn't want her to watch him die. He had an equipment manager call and tell her he loved her. Amazingly, Malarchuk survived with over 300 stitches. In 1894, London and New York were drowning in horse poop. It was estimated that within 50 years, London streets would be buried in 9 feet of poop and horse carcasses. But the invention of the automobile resolved the problem.